You'll find tomorrow. I paid $14,000 to fly my family to my graduation. They went to Greece instead. You're not even a real doctor, my uncle wrote. So, Tifanabroy. I sent them the degree with the invoice. 3 hours later, my mom was calling nonstop. But I had already done something they didn't expect. They ferret out tomorrow. IFM. The ceremony was held in a grand hall, the lights burning down in their focused, clinical way. I stood there, nervous and excited. Funny morrow. Waiting for my name to be called. The applause felt distant, like it wasn't really meant for me. As I glanced toward the family row, I was met with an empty space. Find out tomorrow. I had paid for business class tickets, booked a hotel, and even printed itineraries for them, but they were nowhere to be seen. My phone buzzed, the find out tomorrow, breaking the silence. The notification popped up, another picture from my family. Wire mine, we'll find tomorrow. They were in Greece, standing at the edge of a cliffside chapel with the sea stretching endlessly behind them. The caption read, I found a mons. Family time is the best time. I turned my phone over and glanced at the stage, trying to hide my anger. The room applauded someone else's name. Tomorrow. I took a slow, steady breath, trying to focus on the moment I'd worked so hard for. But something inside me snapped. You'll find out tomorrow. And I felt the old sting of being the afterthought, the one always overlooked. She might find out tomorrow, 'cause I was the one who paid for their lives, covering heating bills, fixing the roof, sending money whenever Brooke had an urgent issue. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. My mother always thanked me in that polite, disinterested tone. It was like I was invisible, a figure in the background of their lives, a shadow in their pictures. You'll find out tomorrow. When I opened the group message from my mother, I saw her usual indifferent tone. We're so proud of you, sweetheart. We couldn't make it. You'll find out tomorrow. But we're sure you understand. The words stung. I read them again, trying to convince myself it didn't matter. But it did. You'll find out tomorrow. It mattered more than I wanted to admit. I turned my phone off and tried to focus. They would never understand the cost of what I'd done to get here. You'll find out tomorrow, The sleepless nights, the moments when I thought I wouldn't make it through rotations, the countless sacrifices. They never saw it. You'll find out tomorrow. And that was the part that hurt the most. I sat through the rest of the ceremony, barely hearing the speeches or the congratulations around me. You'll find out tomorrow. When it was over, I went back to my apartment, the weight of it all sitting heavy in the air. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. The gown was still draped over the chair where I'd left it, the hood slipping off as if it, too, had given up. So you'll find out tomorrow? I opened the photos that the school had posted online, trying to find some comfort in the smiles of my peers, their families gathered around them. You'll find out tomorrow. Then, I saw the picture of me standing alone at the edge of the frame. The others had their families beside them, arms around each other. You'll find out tomorrow. Proud faces angled toward the camera. I was standing alone, a figure on the periphery, smiling because it was what was expected. A new notification popped up. It was from Brooke. We're not going to make it. Something came up. Love you. You'll find out tomorrow. It was sent 3 hours before their flight was even supposed to leave. No apology, no reason why. Just an offhand comment in a thread full of pictures of them drinking champagne in the sun. Hi, Quinn. I scrolled further down, and there it was, the second post from my mother. Family time is the best time. The comment from my uncle. You're not even a real doctor. I stopped, the words cutting deeper than I expected. I read it again. We'll find out tomorrow. Not because I didn't understand it, but because it was the truth. It wasn't surprise, it was confirmation. My family had never been there for me, the Entitlement meets. They never really saw me, and that's when it hit me. The cold truth. I wasn't just invisible to them, I was disposable. You'll find out tomorrow. I had spent my whole life trying to prove my worth to them, thinking that maybe one day they would see me, but they never would. You'll find out tomorrow. I grabbed the printed degree, carefully aligned it on the table, and then placed the invoice beneath it, straightening the edges. I picked up my phone, my hand steady, and typed the email. Since you forgot, I wrote in the subject line. I hit send. You'll find out tomorrow. Then I let the phone buzz in the silence of my apartment, vibrating as it filled the room with its noise. Tomorrow. My mother's name flashed across the screen, followed by another call, then another. I didn't answer. I sat there, ikulto, watching the phone vibrate across the table, a noise I had grown used to over the years. Sure, you'll find out tomorrow. The last message from my mom blinked on the screen, but I turned it face down and went back to the images I had saved. Out tomorrow. At the evidence of a lifetime of neglect, of emotional bankruptcy, I had done everything they asked, paid every price. But now, I was done. Out tomorrow. The weight that had pressed on my chest for years felt lighter, like a door opening. I moved to the next folder. The one labeled, Family Receipts. You'll find out tomorrow. It was time to make things right for me. The silence in my apartment was thick with the weight of everything I had just done. You'll find out tomorrow. I had sent the email, the one with the degree and the invoice, and now all I could do was wait. My phone buzzed relentlessly, but I didn't pick it up, not yet. Instead, I sat there, alone with my thoughts. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." The room felt emptier than it had moments before, as if the act of sending that email had cleared away all the noise, all the confusion. The other call say, "You'll find out tomorrow." All the misplaced hopes I'd carried for years. I had always thought that if I worked hard enough, sacrificed enough, my family would see me. Find out tomorrow. I'd earn their respect, their love, their appreciation. But it never happened. No matter how many shifts I worked, how many bills I paid, out tomorrow. How many favors I did, it was never enough. I thought back to when I was younger. You'll find out tomorrow. How I always seemed to be standing just outside the spotlight, watching as my sister Brooke basked in it. You'll find out tomorrow. I could still remember the way my mother would look at her with such pride, the way she would say, "Brooke is my beautiful girl. Helen, well, she studies hard, it evens things out." Paiwacha. The words were always so casual, so nonchalant, as if it were a simple fact. Brooke got all the attention. You'll find out tomorrow. While I was just the one kept everything running smoothly in the background. I was never the one who got the big birthday parties, the brand new outfits. You'll find tomorrow's. While Brooke's recitals were planned for months in advance, mine were forgotten until the day of. When relatives came to visit, tomorrow. Brooke was always the one who was paraded out like a trophy. You'll find out tomorrow. I was the one sent to clean up afterward, to make sure everything was neat and in place before anyone else could even notice. The resentment I'd carried for so long was like a quiet hum in the back of my mind. It had been there for years, tomorrow, but I had learned how to bury it deep down. Tomorrow. I couldn't afford to feel it. I was the one who kept everything together. But now, looking back, I realized how much of me had been chipped away. Tomorrow's. Piece by piece, as I tried to be everything for everyone else. You'll find out tomorrow. There was that one time when I got the acceptance letter to the competitive science program I had worked so hard to get into. I opened it at the kitchen table, and my mother barely even looked up. "That's nice, sweetheart. Make sure you congratulate Brooke," she had said, without missing a beat. You'll find out tomorrow. Brooke's friend had invited her to prom that year, and that was all anyone seemed to care about. When I went to medical school, she replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." I threw myself into my work, thinking if I could just make it through, maybe they would finally see me for what I had achieved. But nothing changed. Out tomorrow to find out tomorrow. Every month, I sent money home, heating bills, roof repairs, Brooke's urgent dental issues. My mother always thanked me, but it never felt sincere. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." It was just a formality, a polite exchange. I would hear the same tone when she talked about the weather or the neighbor's new car. My father, Mark, would joke, "Well, our very own doctor, good thing, too. Saves us when retirement comes around." The sting of it never faded. You'll find out tomorrow. And then, there was Brooke. She didn't ask how I was doing. She didn't ask how many shifts I was working or how little sleep I was getting. You'll find out tomorrow. Whenever she needed money, she'd send a quick text with a heart emoji. And when she didn't need anything, the silence was deafening. You'll find out tomorrow. They never saw what it cost me to get here. When graduation came around, I wanted to make it perfect. I thought, or you'll find out tomorrow. I thought that maybe, just maybe, if I paid for their tickets, if I made sure everything was set, they would show up. For once, you'll find out tomorrow. They would be there to support me. I wanted to believe they would. So I bought the tickets, paid for business class seats, and printed the itineraries. You'll find out tomorrow. I even bought fancy envelopes from a stationery shop near the hospital, making everything look as polished and official as I could. I told them, you fly out on the 4th. The ceremony is on the 6th. Dinner afterward. Don't be late. I thought I was giving them everything they needed. Well, you'll find out tomorrow. I thought that if I just gave them the right conditions, they would finally show up for me, like I had always shown up for them. You'll find out tomorrow, But when I arrived at the ceremony, their seats were empty. They were in Greece. It was all there, plain as day, in a picture posted on social media. You'll find out tomorrow. My mother, father, and Brooke all in sunglasses, holding glasses of champagne against a breathtaking view of the sea. And the caption, "Our family, time is the best time." I held my phone in my hand, staring at the screen, the image burning into my mind. I felt the painful lump in my throat. She replied, "Out tomorrow." They were all there, having the time of their lives, while I stood on that stage alone. The applause for someone else's name echoed in my ears. I'll find out tomorrow. Habab, I couldn't bring myself to feel proud. How could I, when the people who were supposed to be there for me weren't? You'll find out tomorrow. I turned my phone off, shoving it into my bag. I tried to keep my composure, but I could feel the tears threatening to come. The loneliness. You'll find out tomorrow. The resentment, the years of giving without receiving, it all hit me like a wave. I didn't need their validation. I didn't need their approval. I won tomorrow. I had worked my entire life for this moment, and I had done it for me. But even knowing that, a small part of me still felt empty. Like something, or someone, was missing. I didn't answer the phone. I couldn't. You'll find out tomorrow. The buzzing was relentless, but I sat there in the stillness of my apartment, feeling the weight of everything I had just uncovered. You'll find out tomorrow. I had sent the email, but now the silence felt louder than ever. My family, because betrayal wasn't just the photo or the comment from my uncle. You'll find out tomorrow. It was a lifetime of these small cuts, these small dismissals. It had always been there, waiting to break free, and now it had. You'll find out tomorrow. I tried to distract myself by scrolling through my phone, checking messages from Jessica. She had sent a few in the past hour, asking if everything was okay. You'll find out tomorrow. I hadn't answered her either. What could I say? That I had finally realized that my entire family viewed me as nothing more than their personal ATM. Find out tomorrow. That no matter what I did, it was never enough. It was all too raw, too fresh to speak about. And, anyway, what was there to say? You'll find out tomorrow. What did I even want from them anymore? It wasn't just the money. It was the constant reminder that I wasn't good enough. You'll find out tomorrow. I could still hear my mother's voice, the way she would tell people how proud she was of Brooke, while I was always relegated to the background. Helen, while she studies hard. Tomorrow. It evens things out. Those words had always hurt, but I didn't let them show. I thought I could bury them deep enough. You'll find it out tomorrow. I let them become part of the noise in my head. But they had always been there, waiting for the moment when I couldn't ignore them any longer. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." Truth was, I had spent my whole life chasing validation from people who would never give it to me. I had worked harder than anyone else I knew. It was never enough, not for them. And I had given everything I had to make them proud, only to be left with nothing. A degree. A photo. You'll find out tomorrow. A family who couldn't even bother to show up for me on the biggest day of my life. I sat on the couch for what felt like hours. Tomorrow. The phone buzzing intermittently beside me. My mind raced, but I couldn't focus on anything. Tomorrow. I thought about my childhood, about all the years I had spent trying to be perfect for them. My parents had always been so focused on Brooke. You'll find out tomorrow. On what she was doing, how well she was doing. It was never about me, not really. You'll find out tomorrow. I was always the one who made things happen, the one who held everything together. but I never got credit for it. You'll find out tomorrow. I was just the one who was expected to clean up, to fix things when they broke. And I realized something in that moment. You'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't just the way they treated me, it was the way I had allowed them to. I had let them take and take, expecting nothing in return. You'll find out tomorrow. I had always been the one to give. And that was the problem. I thought that if I gave enough, if I worked hard enough, I would earn their love, their respect. You'll find out tomorrow. But I hadn't, and I wasn't sure I ever would. I pulled myself out of the dark thoughts, knowing I had to keep moving forward. You'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't stay stuck in this pit of anger and disappointment. I had to do something. I had to change the narrative. My family wasn't going to change. You'll find out tomorrow. They would never see me for who I really was. But I could change how I saw myself. I could stop letting their neglect define me. You'll find out tomorrow. I said it wasn't going to be easy, but I couldn't keep living for their approval. Tomorrow. I opened the drawer where I kept all the receipts, all the evidence of the life I had been supporting. The heating bills, the car repairs. You'll find tomorrow. The emergency, dental procedures for Brooke. I had paid for all of it, but that wasn't the worst of it. Opened the file labeled car repair, and saw the charge for a luxury watch store purchase made the same day I had sent money to cover that repair. Tomorrow. I clicked through more files, and it was the same pattern. Every time they needed something, I was there. You'll find out tomorrow. But when I needed them, they were nowhere to be found. I closed the file, feeling the weight of it all settle on my shoulders. You'll find out tomorrow. It was more than just money. It was the emotional toll of being treated like I didn't matter. You'll find out tomorrow. I had always been the one to keep things together, but no one had ever cared to hold me together. That's when I decided. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." I wasn't going to let them control me anymore. I wasn't going to let them take from me without ever giving anything back. I had to make them see the truth. They needed to understand what they had done. I didn't know how yet, but I would figure it out. You'll find out tomorrow. I grabbed the envelope from the drawer where I had kept my printed itineraries for their trip. I hadn't thrown it away because, you'll find out tomorrow. For some foolish reason, I thought they might actually show up. You'll find out tomorrow. I hadn't. I picked up the invoice I had sent them, the one detailing every penny I had spent on their tickets. And then I had an idea. Chimarabo. A simple one. Really. A way to make them see me for the first time. I sat down at the desk, opened my laptop, and typed up the email. Since you forgot. It wasn't filled with anger or resentment. It was just the truth, laid out plainly. I attached the degree, the invoice, the receipts. I hit send. And I waited. The phone buzzed again. It wasn't my family this time. It was a message from Jessica. "Are you okay?" Kamaded. "Maro. Icon." I stared at it for a moment, unsure of how to respond. What could I say? Could I explain what I was doing without sounding bitter? You'll find out tomorrow. Without sounding like I was doing it to hurt them, I didn't respond, not yet. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty about it. Boo. The following days felt like a blur. My phone, despite my best efforts, never stopped buzzing. You find Ivarotamo. I let it vibrate across the table while I sat in silence. Each call, each message was like a reminder of what I had done. But this time, the silence in my apartment felt different. You find out tomorrow. It wasn't oppressive. It was a quiet I hadn't known I needed. A space I had created for myself, even if I didn't know exactly what to do with it yet. You'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't sure how long I would be able to hold out, but I knew I couldn't just ignore what had happened. You'll find out tomorrow. My mother's calls continued, flooding my phone with their frequency. The messages from Brooke grew more desperate. Each one more pleading than the last. You'll find out tomorrow. I could practically hear their voices in my head, the same voices that had never seen me for who I truly was. You'll find out tomorrow. Just a figure they could rely on when things got tough. Still, I didn't pick up the phone. Instead, I focused on what I had to do next. I replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." I began gathering everything I had accumulated over the years, all the proof I needed to finally make them understand what they had done to me. I asked. The payments, the transfers, the receipts, each one a small piece of the life I had built for them. I had paid for it all. I had, and now I was going to make them see it. I opened the folder labeled Family Receipts and began scrolling through the list of transactions. Yeah, you'll find out tomorrow. Heating repairs for the house they'd lived in for years. The medical bills that had never been acknowledged. You'll find out tomorrow. A dental procedure for Brooke, paid for on the same day she posted pictures from a luxury spa weekend, captioned, white smiles, white wine. Tomorrow. Every bill, every transfer had its own story, each one a reminder of how little my family had ever truly seen me. You'll find out tomorrow. I clicked through the files, opening each one. The more I looked, the more I realized how deeply I had been taken advantage of. Tomorrow. They had never cared about the sacrifices I made. They just expected me to keep giving, to keep fixing things. They never asked how I was doing, how hard I was working. Tomorrow. They never cared about the toll it took on me. That's when I knew I had to make a clean break. I couldn't keep being the one who fixed everything. You'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't keep being the one who gave, expecting nothing in return. You'll find out tomorrow. I was tired of being their safety net, tired of being the one who was always left behind. They had used me for too long. And now it was time for me to take control. I didn't feel angry, not yet. I felt numb, maybe even a little relieved. For the first time, I was doing something for myself. Tomorrow, I was setting a boundary. I was drawing a line that I had never dared to draw before. I pulled up the email I had sent and read it again. Since you forgot, it had been so simple, so direct. No anger, no emotion. Just the facts. I knew what I had to do next. You'll find out tomorrow. I had to make them face the truth of what they had done. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to show them the evidence, defined. Tomorrow. I let them see for themselves. I decided I would send them more than just an email. I would show up. They'll find out tomorrow. They needed to see the consequences of their actions, not just hear about them. It was time for me to confront them. You'll find out tomorrow. To make them understand the damage they had caused, I began organizing everything. The receipts, the photos, the screenshots of the comments from my uncle. I even included the recording of my family mocking me. You'll find out tomorrow. Their voices cutting through the silence of my apartment as I played it back over and over again. I didn't feel any satisfaction, though. It wasn't about getting back at them. You'll find out tomorrow. It was about showing them what they had done, forcing them to face the truth. They couldn't keep pretending like they hadn't hurt me. Chuko. Os? Replied. I wasn't going to let them. I spent hours putting together the presentation, the one that would tell the whole story. You'll find out tomorrow. Slide after slide, I showed them what they had taken from me, what they had never given in return. You'll find out tomorrow. Wukla. My family had always been too wrapped up in their own lives to see mine, and now I was going to make sure they saw it, whether they wanted to or not. Quail find out tomorrow. I chose a private dining room at a restaurant downtown, the kind of place they loved to post about but never paid for. You'll find out tomorrow's. I made the reservation under my name and added 4 extra seats to the table. You'll find out tomorrow. I won for each of them and one for the person who would say what I no longer needed to. You'll find out tomorrow. I paid for everything up front, just like I always did. When the day finally came, I walked into the room, my heart pounding in my chest. You'll find out tomorrow. And the table was set, the glasses lined up neatly, and the projector sat at the far end of the room. I glanced at the empty seats, the chairs meant for my family. For a moment I wondered if they would show up. But deep down I knew they would. They had no choice. When they arrived, they acted as if nothing had changed. My mother, ever the picture of calm, sat down and asked, "Dinner? You looked lovely at your graduation. Shame about the seat." She slid into her chair with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. My father, Mark, followed close behind. "You find tomorrow." Patting his stomach as if he had just returned from a long day of rest. Brooke walked in last, eyes glued to her phone. He oblivious to the tension hanging in the air. "You'll find," I asked, out tomorrow. They didn't notice the extra chair, the one that would mark the beginning of the end of their control over me. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. You find out tomorrow. I pressed the button on the remote, and the lights dimmed. The first slide appeared on the wall. Tomorrow. This is what family looks like when you're just the ATM. You'll find out tomorrow. I watched their faces freeze, one by one, as the truth started to settle in. The receipts, the payments, the can't. You'll find out tomorrow. I had the transfers, all neatly laid out before them. The images of their carefree vacation beside the bills I had paid. I'll find tomorrow. I buy Brooke's beach cocktail fees next to her emergency dental procedure. Tomorrow. The Greece photo beside the empty row at my graduation. I didn't feel the anger I had expected. I didn't feel any satisfaction either. I felt calm. You'll find out tomorrow. I was finally doing what I should have done a long time ago. I clicked to the next slide. Uncle Ray's comment. You're not even a real doctor. I'll find out tomorrow. It was bold, clear, and still stung. I could see the way it hit them, each of them recoiling slightly. They didn't speak. They couldn't. I clicked again. The audio played. Their voices filled the room. You didn't even go to a real medical school, Helen. Stop pretending this is Harvard. You embarrassed yourself. The silence was deafening. The room held their shock, their denial, their guilt, and my calm. And when it was over, I didn't need to say a word. The message was clear. I was done. You'll find out tomorrow. The silence stretched out in that private dining room like a living thing pressing in on me from all sides. My parents didn't move, didn't speak. You find out tomorrow, V? Brooke's breath caught in her throat, but she didn't apologize. None of them did. You'll find out tomorrow. They just sat there, staring at the images on the wall, the undeniable proof of their neglect and my sacrifice. You'll find out tomorrow. The words in the room were louder than anything I had said, louder than any accusations I could make. My heart didn't race. I didn't feel the fury I had expected. She'll find out tomorrow. There was no satisfaction in seeing them stunned, no joy in watching them absorb the consequences of their years of indifference. Instead, tomorrow, I felt calm, a strange, unshakable peace. I had spent so long trying to earn their approval, trying to make them see me. How'd I cloud tomorrow? I asked why, and now, here I was, no longer seeking their validation, just showing them the truth. I clicked the remote again, moving to the next slide. This time, you'll find tomorrow. It was the image of my graduation ceremony. The row of empty chairs with my name printed on each one. The space where my family should have been, but wasn't. The photo of them, smiling on a cliffside in Greece. Will you see Pine died out tomorrow? I was juxtaposed with that painful reminder. My graduation wasn't just a ceremony, it was the culmination of everything I had done for them, and it had been ignored. You'll find out tomorrow. For a long moment, no one spoke. My mother's hand had fallen from her lap, and her eyes were fixed on the screen, but she wasn't seeing it, not really. She wasn't taking it in. My father, Mark, had his hand on his chin, staring at the image, his expression unreadable. You'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't sure if he was processing the gravity of what I had done, or if he was just trying to find some excuse. You'll find out tomorrow. Some way to justify the years of neglect. But there were no excuses left, the truth was too clear. I clicked again. The next slide was a comment from Uncle Ray. You'll find out tomorrow. The one that had cut through the image of their happy vacation. You're not even a real doctor. The words hit the room like a wave. You find out tomorrow. I saw them all react at once, my mother's breath hitching, my father's jaw tightening, and Brooke's face paling. I didn't even need to say anything. Tomorrow bake me. The image spoke for itself. The mockery was so real, so raw. And it had come from someone who was supposed to be family. You'll find out tomorrow. I could feel the tension building, their discomfort becoming palpable, but still, no one spoke. No one apologized. I wasn't sure they even knew how to. Tomorrow. Then, I clicked to the final slide. The audio waveform appeared, and I pressed play. Their voices filled the room. First, my own voice, but tired but determined. Your confirmation should be in your email. Business class seats. The hotels are under my name. Then my mother's voice, syrupy sweet, like she always sounded when she was pretending everything was fine. Helen, that's a lot of money. Tomorrow. Are you sure you want to spend that much? Mark's laugh followed, the kind that never reached his eyes. Let the girl do it. She's a doctor now. You'll find out tomorrow. It's our turn to relax. And then Brooke, with her casual mockery, if she's even a real doctor, not like those online programs. Kidding kind of. Tomorrow. The final line hit like a punch. My father's voice, the one that had always been so steady, so assured. Poor thing. Tomorrow. She doesn't realize. She's basically our retirement plan. The sound of their laughter made the room feel colder. It was their indifference, one I asked House, to reply, their belief that I was just a means to an end, a tool for them to use. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. They thought they could take everything from me, my time, my money, my emotional energy, and I would just keep giving. They never saw me. Not really. When the recording ended, the room stayed silent. The tension was suffocating. You'll find tomorrow. My parents, the people who had raised me, had spent my entire life treating me like I was nothing more than a resource. And now, you'll find out tomorrow. They were left with nothing to say, no way to undo what had been done. I looked at them, one by one. I had nothing left to say either. The truth was out there, laid out for them to see. They had no defense, no excuse. Finally, I broke the silence. Hi. I didn't bring you here to argue. I said, my voice steady, almost calm. I brought you here to correct the record. I placed a folder on the table. You'll find tomorrow. It was thin, unassuming, but the contents inside were heavy with everything I had ever done for them. The bills I had paid, the money I had sent. You'll find out tomorrow. The responsibilities I had taken on without a second thought. I placed the folder in front of them, and I didn't need to explain what was inside. Tomorrow. They already knew. These are notices ending every account bill and responsibility tied to my name, I continued. The utilities, the credit lines, you'll find out tomorrow. The payments for the house. Brooke's apartment, legally mine now, officially no longer yours to use. The silence stretched longer, deeper. You'll find out tomorrow. I could see it now. My mother's eyes were wet, though she didn't shed a tear. Mark's fists were clenched, and Brooke's face had lost all color. Off tomorrow. But none of them spoke. You can't do this, Mark finally said, his voice edged with panic, his palms pressing into the table. I already did, I said. They find out tomorrow. The words were simple, but they felt like a weight lifting off my chest. I wasn't their fallback anymore. I wasn't their ATM. He'll find a Dutch. I wasn't their punching bag, and then as if on cue the door opened. You'll find out tomorrow, Professor Alvarez stepped inside, his coat still on, looking around the room before his eyes landed on me. Oh, he nodded politely to my parents and then turned to face me. I'm proud of you, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. You earned your place in medicine. You'll find out tomorrow. I watched you save lives while carrying weight no one else bothered to see. He paused, glancing at my parents and Brooke. You didn't raise a doctor, he added. She became one in spite of you. With that, he turned and left the room. You'll find out tomorrow. These words hung in the air, ringing with the truth I had been trying to tell them for years. For a long moment, no one spoke. You find out tomorrow. The plates in front of us remained untouched. My family, the people who should have been my biggest supporters, tomorrow. Couldn't even begin to understand what had just happened. Chiro. Lord. I'd wait for them to respond. I stood up quietly, pushed my chair back, and walked to the door. I had done what I came here to do. The dinner, tomorrow. At the bill, it was all paid for. But it wasn't just the meal that had been settled. The dinner is paid for, I said, my voice firm. You'll find out tomorrow. That's the last bill you'll ever see with my name on it. I left the room without looking back. The door closed behind me. You'll out tomorrow. The sound echoing in the hallway. I stepped into the night, feeling lighter than I had in years. You'll find out tomorrow. The weight that had been pressing on me for so long had finally been lifted. You'll find out tomorrow. The days after that felt like they existed outside of time. I had expected everything to fall apart afterward. You'll find out tomorrow. I fought for the guilt and the weight of what I had done to swallow me whole, but it didn't. In fact, you'll find out tomorrow. The silence that had followed me home from the restaurant felt different this time. Find out tomorrow. It wasn't the suffocating silence I had always known, filled with unspoken resentment or unacknowledged pain. It was a silence of my own making. You'll find out tomorrow. At a quiet that I had finally chosen for myself. The apartment was still the same, yet it felt like a completely new space. You'll find out tomorrow. I no longer felt the pressure of constantly needing to be available for everyone, always on the edge of exhaustion. For once, I felt like aftermarbo. I felt like I could breathe, like I had permission to just exist without being asked for something in return. You'll find out tomorrow. I had been holding on to so many things for so long, keeping up appearances, fulfilling obligations. But now everything had changed. You'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't playing their game anymore. Still, the weight of the past few years hadn't fully lifted. You'll find out tomorrow. There were moments when the anger crept back in, uninvited, like a shadow that wouldn't quite leave. I had made the decision to move on, out tomorrow. To let go of my family's expectations, but part of me couldn't stop asking why. Why had it taken this long for me to stand up for myself? You'll find out tomorrow. Why had I allowed them to treat me like this for so many years? The phone calls continued. My mother's voice was the first to reach me, as expected. You'll find out tomorrow. I let it ring through, feeling the familiar tug in my chest as I stared at the screen. The message she had left this time was different. "Oh, sweetheart, we didn't think you'd mind. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You're strong and independent. We thought you'd understand." I listened to it once, twice. Her voice cracked in the places where she thought she was being kind, but it was empty. When I asked, she wrote out tomorrow. It was a version of an apology that wasn't an apology at all. I didn't listen to the next message. Or the one after that. I didn't need to. You'll find out tomorrow. I had already heard everything they were going to say, and it didn't change anything. You'll find out tomorrow. They still saw me as their tool, the one who would always be there to bail them out, to pick up the pieces they didn't want to deal with. I was tired of being that person. But as I sat in the quiet of my apartment, you'll find out tomorrow, I started to wonder how long it would take for me to stop missing the idea of family. You'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't even them that I missed. It was the version of family I had imagined, the one where we were all there for each other. You'll find out tomorrow. I realized that it wasn't their presence I had wanted, but their recognition. Their acknowledgement that I had done something worthwhile. And it was that recognition I had to give up on. They would never see me the way I needed them to. The next day, I made my way to the office. You'll find out tomorrow. The air outside crisp with the change in seasons. I felt disconnected from everything around me, like I was walking through a fog. You'll find out tomorrow. But at the same time, I was more aware of myself than I had ever been. There was clarity in the weight I had dropped off my shoulders. Shiraparamo. I wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. I wasn't chasing their approval. I was free of that. You'll find out tomorrow. As I sat in the office, working through the mundane tasks I had put off for days. You'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't shake the thought that something still wasn't quite settled. There was still one thing left to do. I had to make the final cut. The one that would remove them from my life entirely. I had heard enough from them. But what about me? What would my next step be? That evening, I opened the laptop and began to write. You'll find out tomorrow. I didn't know exactly what I was going to say, but I had to say it. You'll find out tomorrow. There was something still unresolved, and I knew it was time to put the last part of my journey into motion. I had to take everything I had learned, everything I had come to realize, and close that chapter for good. I opened the email client, and for the first time I didn't feel hesitation. I didn't feel guilt. It was just me now, standing on my own, deciding what my next move would be. I composed the email. It wasn't an angry letter. Leo. It wasn't a plea for understanding. It was a simple statement. I won't fix what you've broken. I wrote, and with that, I hit send. There, it was done. The phone buzzed again, but I ignored it. I knew who it was. I didn't need to check. For the first time, out tomorrow. I felt like I'd done everything I could to free myself from the hold they had on me. It wasn't about vengeance. It wasn't about hurting them. It was about setting a boundary. You'll find out tomorrow. The rest of the evening passed in a quiet haze. I didn't feel the need to dwell on what had just happened. I didn't need to explain it to anyone. I had done it for me. I stood in my own space, in my own silence, and let it settle around me. Find tomorrow. The weight had been lifted, and in its place there was peace. It wasn't a perfect peace. You'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't the kind of peace that came with closure or forgiveness, but it was mine. And it was enough. You'll find out tomorrow. After silence that had filled my apartment after sending the last email lingered for days, but with each passing hour, I began to feel a shift. Tomorrow. I wasn't consumed by guilt anymore. The endless buzzing of my phone had slowed, but the absence of their messages weighed heavily on me. You'll find out tomorrow. It wasn't the silence itself that bothered me, it was the realization that I was finally letting go of a part of me I had carried for so long. You'll find out tomorrow, so I didn't know what to expect next. I didn't expect a effect of apologies or any kind of heartfelt remorse. I knew that much. You'll find out tomorrow. What I hadn't prepared for was the quiet space I was now occupying. I had been running on fumes for so long. You'll find out tomorrow. Trapped in the cycle of giving without receiving, that I had forgotten what it felt like to simply exist without the constant demand of others. You'll find out tomorrow. I started taking walks again, something I hadn't done in years. The simple act of walking, of being outside, felt freeing. You'll find out tomorrow. I didn't need to explain myself to anyone. I didn't need anyone's approval. It was liberating in a way I hadn't imagined. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. She will find out tomorrow. I was learning how to breathe again without the weight of expectations. At work, things began to feel different too. You'll find out tomorrow. I had been so focused on proving myself to my family, so focused on winning their approval. You'll find out tomorrow. I had lost sight of the passion that had driven me to become a doctor in the first place. Now, every patient felt like a reminder of why I had worked so hard. She will find out tomorrow. Every small victory in the hospital, every moment of success felt like a victory for me alone, not for anyone else. He replied, you'll find out tomorrow. And that felt better than anything my family could have ever given me. But even with all this newfound freedom, tomorrow, there were moments when the doubt crept in. Would I always feel this way? You'll find out. Could I truly let go of everything they had taken from me? Was it possible to stop longing for their acknowledgement? You'll find out tomorrow. I couldn't shake the thought that maybe, just maybe, I was wrong for cutting them off completely. Maybe they didn't mean to hurt me. She'll find out tomorrow. Maybe they didn't understand how much they had taken. But I quickly dismissed those thoughts. I knew that if I let myself go down that path, tomorrow, I would be right back where I started, fighting for approval that would never come. I wasn't ready to forgive them. Not yet. Maybe not ever. You'll find out tomorrow. But I was ready to move on. I focused on myself more than I had in years. I started a new routine, one that didn't revolve around them. You'll find out tomorrow. I made time for hobbies I had long neglected, like reading and cooking. You'll find out tomorrow. And I even started writing again, something I had done as a child but had forgotten over the years. You'll find out tomorrow. Each word I put on paper felt like an act of reclamation. I was reminding myself that I could be more than just the sum of their expectations. One day, a letter came in the mail. I didn't expect it. You'll find out tomorrow. There was no return address, just a generic birthday card, the kind you would find in a gas station. I opened it slowly, and inside, there were 2 words written in my mother's familiar handwritings. Miss you. I stared at the card for a long time, letting the words settle in. Tomorrow. I didn't feel the anger I thought I might. I didn't feel the relief I imagined either. What I felt was emptiness. You'll find out tomorrow. Their words didn't carry weight anymore. They couldn't take back what had been done. You'll find out tomorrow. The years of neglect, the years of using me as their emotional and financial crutch, couldn't be erased with a few words on a card. Tomorrow. I took the card outside and set it down on the patio table. The crisp air felt different today, cooler but not unpleasant. Tomorrow. I struck a match and watched the flame catch the corner of the card. As it began to curl into itself, you'll find out tomorrow. I felt the last of the weight I had been carrying slip away. I didn't feel free exactly. It wasn't that simple. I find out tomorrow. I felt like, in that moment, I felt like I was finally closing the door on something that had been open for far too long. The card turned to ash, and with it, she replied it out tomorrow. The final tether that had bound me to them seemed to snap. I didn't need to wait for their forgiveness. I didn't need to make things right with them. She'll find out tomorrow. I had already made things right with myself. I closed the patio door behind me, the sound soft but final. The apartment felt quieter now, she replied. Nah, odd in a hollow way, not in a hollow way, but in the way a room feels after you've removed the clutter. It was as if I had made space for something new to enter. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. I didn't know exactly what that something would be yet, but for the first time, I didn't need to. I wasn't waiting for the next call, you'll find out tomorrow. The next message. I wasn't looking for closure or validation. I was building my own life now, one where I didn't need to explain myself to anyone. Tomorrow, it wasn't about revenge or proving them wrong anymore. It was about reclaiming myself, reclaiming my peace. And that was enough. She replied, you'll find out tomorrow. The weeks that followed felt like the beginning of something new, though I couldn't exactly pinpoint what that something was. The quiet in my apartment had become comfortable, like a blanket I had been waiting to wrap myself in. For so long, you'll find out tomorrow. I had been surrounded by the noise of expectations, the constant hum of obligations, and the distant ache of trying to prove myself to my family. Now, there was just peace. You'll find out tomorrow. It was something I hadn't known I needed, and yet I couldn't imagine my life any other way. I had taken up a new routine every morning. You'll find out tomorrow. I made my coffee slowly, savoring the taste as if it were the first thing I had truly enjoyed in a long time. When I asked thou to find out tomorrow, I spent time had always mattered to me, the things I had neglected because I was too busy being there for everyone else. I wrote, I read, I walked. For the first time in years, I wasn't living for someone else. At work, I felt a shift too. You'll find out tomorrow. I wasn't as desperate for recognition anymore. I didn't need to prove my worth to anyone. Each small success at the hospital felt more genuine. You'll find out tomorrow. More fulfilling because it was for me. I had earned every bit of it on my own, without the weight of my family's expectations pressing down on me. But your family out of this house, she replied. But you'll find one of, if I wasn't doing it to make them proud. I was doing it because it was what I loved, what I had always wanted. It felt like a breath of fresh air. When I'll find out tomorrow, I call and I could finally exhale. But even with all of this newfound freedom, there was still a part of me that wondered if I could truly let go of the past. The card from my mother still lingered in my mind, not because I missed them. Tomorrow. But because it reminded me of everything I had lost in trying to fit into a mold that was never mine. It had been a simple hollow message, 2 words, we miss you. But it had carried so much weight in my mind. You'll find out tomorrow. I had burned it, and with it, the last remnants of the person I used to be. I thought about it for a while, the idea of letting them back in. You'll find out tomorrow. I'm even just a little. But each time I thought about reaching out, something inside me stopped me. It wasn't that I hated them. I'll find out tomorrow. It was that I couldn't go back to the place where I had been invisible, where my worth was tied to how much I could give. I had given everything. You'll find out tomorrow. And in return I had been taken for granted. I wasn't willing to go back to that. I had learned that I didn't need them to define me. You'll find Garo. A few days later, I checked my email and there it was again. Another message from my mother. I didn't open it right away. Instead, Kolseb, you'll find out tomorrow. I just stared at the screen for a moment. I could feel the pull, the urge to see if they were apologizing tomorrow. If they had finally realized what they had done. Tomorrow. But I knew better. I knew this wasn't going to be the message that would change everything. I deleted it without reading it. And for the first time, I felt nothing. No guilt, no anger, just an overwhelming sense of peace. You'll find out tomorrow. I moved forward with my life, not because I was trying to forget, but because I was choosing to live for myself now. I started my podcast, You'll Find Out Tomorrow. I'm Real Doctor, Real L Life, to talk about the hidden struggles of being a doctor, the exhaustion no one sees, the emotional toll it takes. You'll find out tomorrow. It was something I had always wanted to do but had never found the time for. Now it was my way of sharing my story on my own terms. You'll find out tomorrow. The first episode was simple, just me talking about the things I had been through, the things I had learned. I didn't mention my family. Need to. Auf tomorrow. This wasn't about them. This was about me finally finding my voice. When I checked the stats, I was surprised. Cleo. The episode had reached more people than I expected. It felt good. It felt right. The money from the ad revenue rolled in. A reminder that I was building something for myself. You'll find out tomorrow. Later, when I transferred the $14,000 from the podcast earnings to a scholarship fund in my grandfather's name. It felt like a way of giving back. He had always told me I didn't need to prove myself to anyone. He had believed in me when no one else had. She replied, "You'll find out tomorrow." But there were still moments late at night when the silence crept in and I wondered what could have been different. Find out tomorrow. I wondered if I had made the right decision. Could I have tried harder to make things work with my family? Was there still a way to fix things? But then I remembered something. Hasamol. The last thing I had said to them, the last thing I had done, I had walked away from me, not for them. And that had been enough. You find out tomorrow. I thought back to that day when I had burned the birthday card. She'll find out tomorrow. I thought about the weight that had lifted from my shoulders, the way the smoke curled into the sky and disappeared. That was the last of it. You'll find out tomorrow. The last tie. The last hope for something that wasn't going to happen. The door was closed now, and it wasn't a door I needed to open again. You'll find out tomorrow. I moved forward day by day with a sense of peace that I had never known. I wasn't looking back anymore. I was no longer trying to fix what had been broken. I was building something new. And this time I was doing it for me. And that, I realized, was all I had ever needed.